Welcome back to CalCast, the only show that everyone loves but no one remembers.
Aww. Nobody remembers us? This is so sad.
Who the hell watches this? Come on. The worst
Yeah,
podcast
they won't
on
even
YouTube.
notice that Bronze is gone as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no one's gonna even notice this. No one's gonna watch this.
Bronze is still with us in spirit. Don't worry, I'll be golfing for him today.
Yeah, he's busy, by the way. He didn't quit or anything.
Yeah, he was very busy this week. Couldn't join.
Well, it's only been a couple months, and already there's been a lot of changes since the 1.4.4 update.
Been an interesting little bit behind the scenes for sure.
The update's been super rushed, hasn't it? Like, I mean, I know, like, T-Mob was kind of, like, breathing down your neck to try to get it out.
Yeah, so that's been a whole thing. So they weren't going to release TML 1.4.4 without Calamity. So that was a thing.
I feel like that much is a given, which gives you leverage over them.
And it was just that whole porting process. Like, the reason there's not that much new big content is, well, we've started working on new big content again now, but for the whole time, it was like we couldn't work on anything because TML kept rewriting itself over and over and over, and we keep having to change all the old code because Calamity is a mod from 2016 with code written before some of its players were born. And so you have to update all this code to the new code base, and then they change it, and then change it again. It's why Melee took so long to get, like, properly looked at, because they changed how Melee speed worked internally, I want to say 5 or 6 times during the process, and that was fun.
That alone kind of makes me never want to get into modding, just because I know T-Mod loves making all these random changes for no reason to ruin everything.
That shouldn't have to happen ever again now that the base has been updated to the Journey's End code base.
Well, I mean, that's what they were saying whenever they updated to 1.4, and now look at how long it took to get to 1.4.4. Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, this new system is so perfect. We won't have to ever worry about doing all that stuff ever again.
Well, it wasn't so much like the changes in 1.4.4. It was more so that TML just decided now's the time when we're going to rewrite all this stuff internally anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and so for like any future updates, like who's to say that this won't happen for 1.4.5, where you have to like basically rewrite everything from the ground up for no real reason?
They might, I mean, so we might quit if that happens, and they don't want that, so.
Yeah, like it just sounds like Sisyphusian, like not to be memey, but like it really just seems like such a waste of time.
None of us were particularly super happy about it, but it's here now, and we can start working on cool stuff again, which is really awesome. This recent patch that came out has a lot of fun stuff where like people on the team have been learning and settling in, and you get all sorts of cool new stuff, like all these cool item reworks and minion reworks and all that.
It just seems like a lot of the items as well as the weapons, especially accessories, are getting a lot more like in depth while still kind of retaining a lot of that's like old Calamity chaos. So an example that I saw more recently was like Purity, right? Or the reworked Absorber. I'll be honest, I don't remember exactly what they do. I just know that they do a lot of stuff, and it just kind of has integration of a lot of the accessories that fill a specific niche or role throughout the game, such as Purity being entirely based around like regen and everything, and I just think that's cool.
Personally, I really like the direction Calamity is going with its accessories, where like it's making a lot of them more unique, and it's making the ones that it can't make more unique non-existent. Like it's removing like the really terrible ones, like what's that one? It was like just announced that it was being removed. Starts with a G. No one uses it. Drops from Brimstone Elemental.
Oh, Gehenna?
Yeah, that thing. It's being gone because it's like, come on, who the hell uses it?
We've been going through, like okay, if I look at the effect of Gehenna and cheat sheet right now, it says, drops brimstone fireballs from the sky occasionally.
Ooh! No way.
It's just so useless.
Like, we've been looking at a lot of accessories and reworking them because, I mean, stuff like Absorber and the old Sponge had like 10,000 million effects, but none of them were good. Like, they all sucked. It was like contextual, like, if you're underwater, you gain 5 defense. Okay. Is this out in the current patch? The Sponge change? Yes, the better barrier. Okay, so that is out. I couldn't quite remember if that was public yet or not, but yeah.
Yeah, it's currently 30% DR.
It's super good. It's like a lot more simple too.
It's like I personally really love Rover Drive as well, so I'm happy to see basically just a better version of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like if you're very good at like only getting hit once in a while, like that accessory seems godly since it's just 180 max health. Just free.
I put it in the flesh totem category of like auto include if you're good at the game accessories.
There's also a lot of more accessories that are planned to like get reworks, right? Like, for example, Blood Pact has been infamously bad, I think, pretty much since it was introduced, and I've been told from Rebecca that it is finally getting a rework at some point in the future, right?
Yeah, that's correct. A lot of accessories are being looked at because again, a lot of our team members are have learned how to make items and stuff, and now they're finally doing all the stuff.
It's a secret though. It's like it's private what it actually will do, right?
I think so. Yeah, that sounds right.
She didn't elaborate any details, but she just said that she thought it was more interesting.
Mm-hmm. A lot of stuff for me to keep up on because, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and the Void line is also getting a similar treatment as well, right? Like Void of Extinction, Void of Calamity, like those two are just also garbage.
Well,
because like at the moment they're just Avenger emblems, but with a couple extra useless effects that no one cares about.
Void of Extinction is it's the biggest noob trap, and we're trying to move away from those 12% increase the damage thing because it's such a trap.
I wouldn't exactly call it a trap because like a trap implies it like hurts you. That's more like Blood Pact. Blood Pact is like the big trap at the moment, but like I just think that Void of Extinction and Void of Calamity are just not worth using. I mean, Avenger Emblem is by itself is already pretty bad, and so like why is Calamity basically adding another version of it except with a couple extra useless effects? So yeah, they definitely deserve to be changed.
Definitely. We're all in agreement there, I think.
I will say the one thing that I really want to see from newer accessories is to not stray too far from like the vanilla feel as well, for the most part, like visually.
That's been a thing we've been trying not to go completely insanely overboard.
Yeah, because like while stuff like the new concepts are very cool, I do think that it looks a little out of place when you look at like the rover drive shield, for example, even. Again, it's good, and it looks great, just within the right context. And I think that's just something that, at least for me, I'm kind of worried about in terms of the direction, and I think it should just be something to be aware of.
I can tell you firsthand that, that is definitely something we're aware of on the team, because it's a conversation we have a lot, is are we straying too far from what vanilla Terraria is? So we do hear that viewpoint a lot, and we have it on the team as well, so I don't think it'll ever go too far out.
Good to hear.
Just, we are still also going a little bit further on Calamity's visuals, since, we can do what we want, we're a mod.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of talented artists on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
we can get to that in a bit though, but yeah.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, obviously, at the end of the day, is a mod and it has the potential to stray further away, but given the identity that it's had in the past, it would still be within best interest to maintain some of that fundamental, and just not to completely reinvent the wheel in every single regard.
Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not going to go too far. I do think, though, a lot of these accessories, they had, really dog shit effects, even, compared to vanilla things. Again, Sponge had, it had the longest tooltip ever for nothing.
I mean, Sponge wasn't terrible before its rework. I mean, it definitely wasn't worth using over, say, Rampart of Deities, but, it wasn't the worst thing ever.
I think a trapping a lot of Calamity accessories fell into was combine every effect from what crafts into it, even if those don't contextually really make sense together. Okay, Sponge was definitely the biggest...
That's a Fargo's tier move.
Yeah, that was definitely... Sponge was the worst victim of it, but Absorber too, which is why that was completely changed. The whole Grand Gelatin line was completely reworked.
Speaking of Sponge, I have a question just regarding Sponge. Just what was with the whole out of order thing? Why did they decide to break Sponge to and make it not have its old effects without giving it the new effects? Why not just revert the rework until it was ready?
I actually am not quite sure what you're referring to.
So for one version, the Sponge did almost nothing. It just gave some defense and did nothing because and the tooltip just said out of order.
That might have just been a mistake.
Yeah, because I'm genuinely not. I don't understand why they would go out of their way to remove the effects without actually adding the rework back in. It's why make the change at all if it wasn't ready?
I think we had to. It was something we had to release the update for TML reasons, and something was discovered that was broken with it, or something along those lines. I don't actually remember because I wasn't really there for those conversations, but it's fixed now.
Haha! April Fools.
April Fools
in August.
Yeah, it might have been a shader issue or something like that. I actually really don't know.
But yeah, if it was time was really pressing and you realized there was like some major problem or something, I guess I can understand that more.
We did have to push out a patch like unexpectedly because of something with TML. So some other accessories that got reworked. Old Duke scales got reworked.
Didn't it turn into like a dash or something?
It is really, really strong. It gives you 10% DR, and then extra movement speed and acceleration, and increased dash velocity and length. But then it gives you a little like stamina meter. If you run out of stamina, you lose like all the positive effects of the accessory. But if you know how to balance it well, it's basically a dash buff and a tank accessory. It's super strong. You should try it out.
Yeah, increased utility at the cost of having to manage your thing. So it's essentially a it's a play around skill. That's good.
Yeah, we decided to introduce some accessories that affected dashes because those weren't really a thing. Dashes were kind of linear, where like it was just, okay, just put Asgardian Aegis on and don't think about anything else. Void Sash is trash, never use it.
Yeah, Void Sash is okay in my opinion, but yeah.
It's just so badly outclassed.
I mean, for SCal, you really don't need the ramming, and the dodge can be nice without needing an extra accessory slot for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not totally useless, but I will say Asgardian is usually better.
So we introduced some McDash accessories to maybe like introduce some more unique combos and incentivize using other things.
That's also good, especially given that Calamity like enforces the use of a dash in the first place, given Vanilla just doesn't half the time.
I'm very glad that they changed as well, because Old Duke scales, like old Duke scales, as in like from the time they were released, were pretty much only good with Ironheart for no-hitters, doing a boss rush no-hit, and absolutely nothing else.
We've been trying to make more accessories more varied and all be viable, because it's like a lot of times with Calamity endgame builds, it's just like, okay, put on tracers, put on shield, put on the best damage accessories, and we've been trying to make it so there's some like actual options worth considering that aren't just like ridiculously super niche. And I think it's in a pretty good spot. Like the new, what's the absorber upgrade called? Purity, is it? Yeah, Purity's sick. I was very adamant that, we don't destroy tanking, because there's some voices out there. They're very vocal opinions that are like, if you can survive an attack, an item is broken and needs to be nerfed. Everything has to be glass cannon, only glass cannon.
Well, here's the thing though. Tank is still like, it's still pretty strong in certain circumstances. Like MPG, I'm gonna have to ask their permission for this clip, but like, you can face take Blender with Rogue.
I despise that clip. I hate that clip so much because it's used in every balancing argument ever. And I just look at it and it's like, wow, you just spent your entire accessory slots and like 3 cooldown abilities to survive 1 attack. Congratulations. Are you proud of yourself?
But look, man, I survived it. I survived this broken. I survived it.
Just the fact you can do that with like 0 effort is just, I don't know.
Well, it is 3 cooldowns and an entire build.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna share on this one. You spend your resources, you're getting the value that you wanted out of that.
I mean, you'd be left with basically no damage buffs, your potion cooldown gone, your defense cooldown gone, with 150 HP versus Exomex. It's like, okay, you're just gonna die instantly after that, probably. I don't know. I think tank gets a lot of heat personally. That is like, if people see attacks being survived, they get like upset. When I don't really think it's that overpowered. I mean, some things like Rampart is really strong. We all know Rampart is really strong.
It deserved being moved to post Yaron just because there's so many post dog accessories. Like the power spike post dog is just so insane. You get so much post dog, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that was the whole reason we moved it, because it's just really strong. But if you nerf it, it's like not good at all. So it's either really strong or it's not good. Personally, I'd prefer it leaning towards too strong than completely useless.
Mercy Resurrect in Overwatch. Yeah, you get it.
Speaking of accessories, there's one accessory that I've been thinking about for like years now, about just how incredibly mediocre it is, and that is Elation Tracers. Ever since 1.5, when Yaron became a single fight and you get Sylva immediately before Yaron, like, they have been completely and utterly outclassed. Like, they have no reason to exist. You get your Celestial Tracers, you get them directly post Moonlord, and then you have them all the way until Dog. You get like 9 bosses with them, and then you get them for a single boss, and they're just terrible for him. Like, why would you ever use Tracers when Silver Wings just exist and are better?
We have plans for the Tracers.
Just the Elation or all of them?
All of them, I believe. But like retiering of certain ones, placement of certain ones.
Okay, good, because like Elation Tracers very badly need your shift, because like I said, they're you get them for one boss and they are absolutely terrible in that one boss.
Yeah, no, we are aware of that. Yeah, we're gonna. I think there's plans to spread them out better, and also maybe look at some of the effects of like they're Seraph Tracers now, right? Yeah, okay. The Seraph Tracers have some interesting effects, like the immunity time and stuff like that. Might get looked at some point or another. I remember there were conversations about them.
I think Seraph Tracers are in a good place right now, because like it is fairly debatable which one's better between them, and I think that's a good place for them to be in.
I'm glad we swapped the name because it makes way more sense.
Yeah, like I agree, because like Seraph means like angelic, and like they definitely look a lot more angelic.
For somebody who's been calling them Celestial Tracers for 7 years now, it's tough.
Yeah, like it is a bit hard to get used to. Even as someone who's on board with the name change, I still constantly find myself like needing to like manually think about which tracers specifically I'm referring to.
Definitely, yeah.
To be fair, didn't know before, still don't know. So, yep.
L plus ratio plus Dragonfire for 10 seconds.
15 actually. Yeah.
Was it actually 15?
No, it was it was actually like 7, I think. No,
I thought it was 10, yeah.
No, it was like 7. I looked at the footage recently. It was 7.
But yeah, it's good to just see that like in general the forgotten accessories are finally being remembered and like something is being done with them. So yeah, look forward to seeing the future effects.
With the inclusion of the loadouts of 1.4.4, being able to use these accessories much more dynamically is also going to be like a lot easier. Just given that you can quickly swap between them in the middle of battles as well, meaning that accessories that are more based around like damage dealing or like regen, if you have the time to commit to them, to getting multiple copies of like your general mobility and stuff like that, are gonna be much easier to use. So like feel free to like get all the accessories that you want to use.
Encouraging experimentation is always good.
Yep,
Definitely. It would also be really nice for multi-classing, because, you know, you can just switch to a different class at the press of a button if you have the resources.
Yep. Just,
well, I mean, the thing with multi-classing is I pretty much always feel like it's way more trouble than it's worth. Like, it just takes so much time to grind all those extra accessories, and you really don't need them.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But it's also really fun.
Okay, but here's the thing, though, too. If you're using loadouts in the first place, you're going to be grinding those accessories regardless, so that encourages multi-classing even more, because if you're already doing it, then there's no harm or foul going after the different ones.
I mean, yeah, like, it is your choice. I mean, you can do it, but, like, I'm just saying, like, to me, it feels like it's a lot more effort than it really is worth. But, yes, I think we're done with accessories, so in that case, do we want to go back to the earlier topic of the default dash?
The default dash, yeah, that was, I just woke up one morning, went into the dev server, and then I was talking, and I was like, oh, hey, this is a thing we're doing. I'm like, oh, okay, sick, that's awesome. Because it reduces reliance on grappling hooks feeling nearly mandatory sometimes in early game. And also means you don't necessarily have to have a dash accessory, which is really nice. Because I remember way back in the day when the cryogen lore item used to give you a dash. A lot of people opt to do that because they didn't want to waste a spot on a dash. And this kind of fulfills something similar where like you know, you're not dead in the water if you don't have a way to change direction instantly now, because you always have it. I feel like it just allows bosses to be more fair regardless of your loadout. I like it a lot.
Like, a lot of people were just thinking that, like, including me, like, I just think it was a bit too strong to be completely pre-boss, because, like, it's completely redirects your momentum for free. Like, it just, you know, just the ability to instantaneously change your momentum without needing an accessory slot just feels like it's just too much.
I feel like if the game is balanced around it, then it's not a problem.
Additionally, you also do have hooks, and those can be used for the exact same thing. Granted, you need a hook for that, but that's essentially what people use them for in boss fights anyways. So the fact that it exists isn't really changing all that much, except for like the early game bosses, and those are already less of a hassle, so there's no real reason to worry about it all that much. Like, I'm trying to look at it from the perspective of like a new player joining the game, right? And they will probably try and use that dash and not even either notice it exists, or they will find it underwhelming until they realize what its actual potential and use is for, right? Until you get a dash, which you can usually get pretty quickly in Calamity before hard mode.
In vanilla Terraria, I mean, it's just Shield of Cthulhu, and Calamity makes it normal mode too.
Yeah, and then you get counter-scarfed by after Skeletron. But point being, there are available dashes.
For God's sake. I just don't think it was really needed, but...
I like it.
My point is that you're right, it isn't necessary. And that's it. That's the point. If someone elects to use it, they can.
I feel like a lot of times when there's something like that that changes like very base, like you could argue it's a base mechanic change. Really, I look at it more of a convenience as, if anything. You know, it's convenient. It makes it so you don't have to be as reliant on like a particular niche thing.
I mean, dashes really aren't that niche. They're pretty universal.
But there's not that many of them.
Well, yeah, but like everyone uses stuff like Shield of Cthulhu as soon as they kill
But that's exactly the point. It feels so limiting in that regard, right? Like you have to use Shield of Cthulhu in order to play bosses that are balanced for dashes.
I mean, like, but pretty much everyone also uses stuff like Hermes boots as well.
Those are less mandatory now than they ever have been with the movement speed changes.
Personally, I think you guys are just both overthinking this. It's a tiny dash, allows you to turn around. People who know how to use it well are going to use it well. If you don't know how to use it, then you're just not going to, and that's the reality behind it. Otherwise, you're just going to wait for other options that come later in the game, and then you'll use those because they override it.
At least it doesn't give anything like iframes, right?
No, it does not give iframes. It's
yeah.
literally
Yeah,
just
that would be
momentum.
truly way too far.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think we'd put that in the game. We know a little bit better than that. Yeah, it has no... It doesn't contact anything. It doesn't do damage. It has no iframes. It's simply just to be able to redirect momentum. It's so that utility doesn't get lost or exclusive to just, you know, use Shield of Cthulhu for the whole game. It allows more experimentation, more flexibility, more customizability in different accessory loadouts, while not losing functions that are pretty ubiquitously considered critical to a lot of Calamity's bosses. And it also makes our jobs less of a headache in the boss balancing department because we can, you know, put attacks that require a dash to dodge without feeling bad, like, oh, what if the player doesn't have this? And also, whenever you do a base mechanic change, people will always complain that it's overpowered. I've noticed that, even when it's not.
Fair enough, I guess. We could talk about the melee speed, just changes overall.
Oh, true, that happened.
So basically, like, a lot of accessories that had melee speed got their melee speed removed, but a lot of armors, like a lot of melee armors, finally got the ability to have melee speed without being ridiculously broken.
But yeah, that was the general plan, was to, like, make it more exclusive so as to not make it ridiculously broken when you stack it, because that was the main issue it faced before, where it was melee. When they started tying melee speed to projectile, like, rate of fire, it became ridiculous with certain weapons.
Like, it's understandable that the nerf was coming, but still, it's just sad to see Celestial Shell no longer be the, like, beacon, like, pillar of melee loadouts for the entire game.
It's probably a good thing, because, like, yeah, you would include it on every build all the way up till SCAL.
This is me stating my personal opinion that it's just, for me, sad to see it go.
Oh, yeah, I get that, because it was such a big...
Because, like I say, it was so good for so long, and, like, the pinnacle staple of melee accessories for the entire game, literally being better than Elemental Gauntlet, arguably.
It was crazy. Now it scales a little bit better. It's still really good.
Yeah, like, it's still definitely worth making as melee, but instead of keeping it till post-game, you keep it till about post-Moonlord-ish. Maybe a bit longer because of the debuff immunity.
I could see you running it up until, like, before Dog, honestly.
But yeah, it's like, not garbage, but, like, obviously not as ridiculously, insanely awful wall powerful.
Yep. And this way you can't, you know... Things can have melee speed and be cool with it without it being insane when you stack it, which was the main reason why it was so weird before.
Yeah, and Beetle Armor also got a nerf as well to its melee speed, right? Because it was literally better than Auric for DPS.
Something like that. I know it was nerfed and buffed in different ways.
All I know is that a lot of no-hitters did use it for SCAL.
Another thing, like you mentioned no-hitters with the dash and mentioned it here, we also, like, try not to balance around, like, that.
We've been over this before, yeah, like... We get the point, but I'm just saying the fact that no-hitters are using it just means that it was that powerful.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm not saying anything about how it should be balanced. I'm not saying it should be balanced to them or anything like that.
Because that was a trapping I think Calamity fell into for a little while, where, like...
Yeah. We talked about this last episode, I think.
That was also a thing
yeah.
that Leviathan addressed, like, the way long ago.
Oh yeah, when we were discussing tracers, one thing I forgot to mention was the Godslayer Hoverboard as well. that will now finally be a thing. It's kind of funny, the sprite request for this was put out in, like, I think it was, like, December of 2020.
It's been
Like,
a bit.
literally 3 years ago that this sprite was requested, and only now, like, in September of 2023, has someone made a sprite that the devs liked enough to get accepted.
Yeah.
If anything, this will make Elasian tracers even worse before they get reworked, but since they're getting reworked, then, you know, whatever. Is it, do the devs know exactly what they want to do with, the hoverboard yet, or are they just like, oh, well, shit, now I gotta come up with something?
I can't quite remember if we had plans or not. It's a lot to jumble around.
Okay.
I'm already on pink team. What are you talking about, JFL?
Wait, what? Oh, you're just you're just like way too far. I still hate that.
They
the
changed
no
that
change.
at 1.4.4. Weird change.
I could have sworn you could change that by, like, messing with the configs or something, like in a config file somewhere.
Maybe. I don't remember. I know it's a vanilla thing, so.
Yeah, someone just get on that. Like, bully Red on Twitter to fix that. This was just an objectively bad thing. There's no reason for that to be a change.
If we're gonna keep on the line of controversial changes, the fact that NPCs no longer sell potions.
Cope. All right, next topic.
Well, so like I like when this thing was first announced, my first thought was, damn, I'm not gonna get to ditch, not gonna be able to ditch Alch NPC now. I think I distinctly said last time I was looking forward to being able to permanently get rid of Alch NPC from my mod lineup, but now I guess I'm gonna keep it there for even longer. Like, I feel like it's just a problem with vanilla is that making potions is just not interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, with accessories, once you make the accessory, you have the accessory forever. Like, it's yours. But, like, with potions, you need to constantly make more, unless you have some other mod.
And it's really obnoxious because a lot of them require fishing.
Yep, that too.
What's that? You wanted to play early game summoner? Well, have fun having a third of your damage locked behind a potion.
But to be fair, blood orbs are a bit better than they were, but, like, it's still not... Like, you don't really get, like, a super good method to farm them till, like, it's almost post-dog because of Godslayer armor.
Yeah, you do get a lot. They're cheaper to craft now, though, I remember. The change for NPCs to have potions had all sorts of, like, detractions, like, day one, so I'm not surprised to see it go.
Yeah, I mean, I figured devs would generally be against something like that. Like, I was surprised they even added it at all, but still, just seeing it go.
It was kind of annoying to maintain. It was hard to balance. People were like, "Oh, you're intruding upon alchemist NPCs territory." Blah 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 blah. It was all sorts of stuff. And also making it so that NPCs were loaded and bloated and had way too much to sell, sometimes causing issues even. It's annoying, but it is what it is. It's just a vanilla problem.
It could just be more of a convenience to just increase the drop rates of a few of these items instead, just to kind of silently mitigate the problem in a few ways. Ultimately, I think the system is okay in a way, but at the same time, I know that a lot of people also despise fishing, so maybe... Like, the blood orb thing is also good. It gives another option, but at the same time, like you said, that's only really super viable, like, later in the game. It is a difficult topic to really settle in the right way. I still think it's fine in its current position. It just might need a little bit of help being a little bit quicker, since just a majority of the player base isn't really patient enough to grind for them.
Yeah, I mean, like, pretty much everyone just uses Alch NPC anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, it's just, like, a fundamental, like, very big problem in vanilla.
Definitely.
And, like, I don't really know what could be done aside from completely overhauling the entire system, which sounds like a lot of work.
Additionally, it would just kind of be a bad call as well, since we've also talked about that same discussion regarding, like, maintaining some of vanilla's identity as well, and not going or straying too far off.
Apparently I got this Spiffo plush. I've never seen this item in my entire life, but apparently it's a 1 in 1,500 drop from zombies.
What is it?
W.
The Spiffo plush. I've never seen this thing in my whole life.
Okay, one of my friends hit 2 trees, right? And there's apparently some sort of, like, pet that you get at a 1 in 1,000 drop chance from just hitting a tree.
Yeah, the amber.
Yeah, you got 2 of those in a row.
Lucky bastard.
Why does vanilla have so many of these random, tiny, nanoscopic % chance of happening drops anyway?
I will never understand why they made, well, back when it was Arcalis, it's Terragrim now. But why that item is so rare, I don't think Red knows how rare the Chrysogrim and Symphony of the Night actually was, because it is not that rare.
Don't worry, Shay. We'll just rename it Sword of Kings, and then it will be accurate.
Oh, double odds for that, my page. Double odds, man.
Let's see. Poltergeist, his enrage has been removed, essentially.
I think that was just a quality of life decision, because that enrage would be really, really finicky with when it triggered, even if you were in the dungeon. If there were no, like, dungeon blocks nearby, it's really annoying.
Well, I mean, it was tile based, so like he never enraged outside the dungeon, or at least if he did, he hadn't done that in years.
I don't quite remember, but yeah.
Yeah, like for the longest time, the way it worked, it was tile based. So like the more tiles were around him, the less angry he would be. But like
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
But like even stuff like the Forbidden Archive would still, I think, almost always permanent enrage him. Maybe.
I think that was part of the reason it was removed. Is like it punished you for making a big space.
Well, I think it's more weird that it punished you for using the thing the game literally gave to you for this one specific purpose. I just think that it maybe should have been a bit higher, like the actual, like, what percentage of the enrage translate into his new AI, because now he just feels very, very easy.
I think that boss is on the rework list anyway.
It feels like every boss is always on the rework list.
Some of them aren't. I know Profane Guardians are off. Those guys are pretty much done. I don't think SCal won't be changing much at all ever. So
I actually fought Profane Guardians, reworked Profane Guardians for the first time in Jumpless, and I enjoyed them. I thought they were pretty cool.
I think they're one of the better bosses in the mod. Yeah, I was really impressed when I was beta testing. I was like, damn. And when I say rework, I don't mean like a big, like, entire reimagining of the fight, just a couple of tweaks. Like, a lot of bosses are, other than Ravager, are really, really good and well put together, and they don't need much change to make them, like, really good or in their close to final states, I think. Except for Ravager.
I know we discussed specifically Ravager in a previous episode, but I don't remember if I specifically asked you, will he be touched at all before he's moved to the Profane biome?
I don't think so, because his rework will be contingent on that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured.
That would be like, you know, reworking Golem before moving him out of the arena, which isn't a plan,
Yeah.
by the way. That was just hypothetical.
That's kind of what I figured, just like...
Make the jungle temple useless. Petition, sign here.
Well, Ravager is always begging. He's been dreamed to be an arena fight with walls and a fixed size that he can take it back. I just got 2 gold portals back to back. That's crazy. You know, he really wants to be a nice, like, arena fight, but, you know, that's why he inflicts that status condition that, like, tries to mimic that, but it's Terraria, so it feels jank as hell. We all pretty much agree that's, like, everybody's least favorite boss.
Theme's a banger, though.
Oh, yeah, Open Frenzy is, like, the most underrated Calamity track, honestly.
I don't know, I think a lot of people like Open Frenzy.
I've just seen a lot of people who don't, and it upsets me because it's so good.
I mean, you will find people who don't like every single Calamity track. Like, it's not hard to just find someone who thinks that, say, Universal Collapse is, like, overrated or something. Or Roar the Jungle Dragon.
Well, those are just contrarians. People have been doing that in Undertale lately. Be all like, oh, Megalovania isn't good, it's overrated. Dog. Let's be real for a minute here.
Keep it $1.50 with you.
Yeah, I need you to stop the cap.
You can have wrong opinions when you make takes like that.
I need people to be like, you know, just because something is overrated, quote unquote, there's probably a reason it's well regarded.
Just personally, I get annoyed when I see, like, people arguing about music in Calmain, because it's a subjective opinion at the end of the day, and, like, I don't understand what the point is of arguing over subjective opinions, because it's an opinion. Like what are you trying to do?
I don't know.
Ultimately, my best guess, beat up some time.
Maybe. I don't know, that's what it feels like sometimes.
Admittedly, that's probably it. People just get bored. This is a thing that I want to talk about because I like this, and this person doesn't, and they're wrong. Ha-ha! And then, like, an hour and 30 minutes later, you just come to the consensus that, like, oh yeah, once again, we've learned our lesson. You have an opinion, and I still think you're wrong. We got nowhere. Have a good day.
I still like Calmain for what it's worth. It's just fun to talk in there.
I go in there at nighttime when it's chill.
Yeah, no, I'm just explaining the psychological, like, process behind behind those arguments. That's all.
I guess we could talk about like how it seems like both Terraria and Calamity are immortal. Like they just will not die. Calamity survived 22, and like the devs are more harmonious than ever. I don't remember who exactly said this, but a while ago I remember a dev very specifically saying that like the devs have every intention of like keeping Calamity as the most popular mod for as long as Terraria is relevant.
That's the goal. We're not quitting on it anytime soon. A lot of people, yeah, we got all the, Calamity's dying, Calamity's dying, Calamity's dying. No, it's not. But we're doing fine.
I mean, to be fair, those voices were a lot louder during 22.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad we've moved past that. Because let me tell you, it was real annoying, hopping on the Cal Twitter to go post something cool and just seeing reply after reply after reply after reply. It was just 22, 22, 22. It's like, you realize I am a dev, right? You are not doing anything constructive here. You are just annoying me, a dev. The people the people you supposedly care about the mental health of.
I just think it's funny that like this entire like podcast, the sources come from the person who manages the Twitter account. So in a certain perspective, you could say that the information supplied for this podcast is supplied by Twitter, which I think is funny as a statement.
But it's actually X now. I'm not calling it that.
No.
Speaking of the Twitter though, did you all see the teaser we dropped the other day?
Big Devourer.
I'm really excited because at the moment, Dog is a very not great boss.
See, that's where I'm at. We have all these people saying like, "No, he's my favorite boss. Don't touch him. We'll kill you." It's like, I don't know. I feel like he's like the least underwhelming, least whelming boss in most Moonlord.
Yeah, like for how intimidating his name is and how gargantuan he just is so passive that like he very badly needs a rework. Just to at least make him feel like he's a post-Moonlord boss.
Mm-hmm. He's Mr. Calamity. He needs the best treatment. He needs to be the best boy because he's Mr. Calamity. He's the guy. Everybody knows Dog.
Devourer of Gods in his current form in death mode, I believe it is, from 100% to 90% of his HP, actively avoids you. like he actively, his AI does not chase you. He does not try and like actively attack you. No, he just kind of sits there, kind of going around you and moving up above you in order to fire lasers off of segments that are easily dodgeable and do quite literally nothing. I think with the size change, you're going to be able to see a lot more potential like heavy telegraphed attacks. So
basically just more close quarters combat.
A bit, but also like given that the model and the boss is just going to be so big, you're going to need to make the fight work around more like telegraphed attacks, right? Because you can't have the current Dog AI work with that big a sprite. It's just not going to work. Your dashes don't go through him, so his head is just going to kill you in phase 2 no matter what. Like you are dying.
He is way larger than the current sprite. Like you can just see the size comparison, and like he is so much more gargantuan, which I think is a lot more fitting of the title Devourer of Gods.
Same.
He is 7 times larger. I wasn't kidding when I said something big was on the horizon. People were like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, they don't know. But yeah, that's right. The phase 2 version, which is what was posted, is like basically almost completely done. The phase 1 design, which you won't be seeing because that is under tight wraps, but it is pretty.
That's another thing I was wondering about, whether or not he was still going to have 2 phases or if this new sprite was the only version of it.
No, there will still be 2 phases.
But getting back to the whole AI thing as well, I just am really honestly excited to see something that isn't just kind of...
Where may I?
Yeah, pretty much. Devourer of Gods is one of the more generic ones, that's all. So it's just nice to see him getting a bit of a change. That's all.
Mm-hmm. He's going to be more unique because he is in close proximity to both Thanatos and also to the other Draydon worm, the Deconstructor, I think is the name.
Armored. It was changed from Armored Digger to something else.
Yes, I believe it is Deconstructor now. He still exists. We have the sprites for him ready to go. But yeah, you don't want him to be too similar to just a generic worm AI, and he's going to be really big. I think there were a lot of humorous videos people showed where they just upscaled the current size of Dog, and it's like, look at the AI. I thought they were really funny until some people started calling us lazy and bad and blah, blah, blah. Of course we're reworking it, guys. It wouldn't work if it was the same AI. Jeez.
We actually talked about that in episode 2 back when we were talking about like what For the Worthy Calamity would look like.
People are also asking, is the segment count going to be reduced? Well, yeah. I mean, he would be larger than a large world if he had the same amount of segments. The segments are enormous.
It should be really interesting, though. Like you said, you were actually pretty on the money about the telegraphs and stuff. That's in the plans. More telegraphed attacks. More things that are more cohesive to him as opposed to like, hey, look, laser walls.
The first thing that comes to mind when I see that giant head is like, basically you see a giant telegraph on screen, and then Devourer of Gods dashes at like the speed of like Mach 5 into that telegraph, and then you have another dash where it comes through in the same location but from a different angle while the body is still coming through. You see Dog's head going through portals in order to create that area, and then you have to kind of dodge and weave through the overlapping segments.
Damn, who gave you the dev notes? Jeez. You're not very far off.
I mean, again, it's a large sprite. You can only do so much with it.
It's pretty intuitive. Yeah. It'll be good. I promise. A lot of people are worried, like they don't have faith in our ability to make bosses for some reason. It's like
So like people actually are having like a bigger role now, right? It's not just Fab making the decisions for bosses.
Yeah, he's been more open to suggestions and stuff. And
oh yeah, by the way, King Slime.
Oh sure.
Yeah, but like Fab hasn't had as tight of a grip on the boss AI ever since 22 happened.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but like I'm wondering like what changes have been made to bosses that like weren't his since that happened.
I think some of the stuff for Guardians, for Profane Guardians, was from the team. I actually don't super keep up with that, so.
Valid. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
A lot of the to skip ahead a bit, a lot of the GFB ideas were from team members.
Well, look at this loser. He died to King Slime.
I have a melee weapon. Listen, I'm trying to make Teardrop Cleaver work, okay?
Has boss checklist still been causing problems? Because like I've been hearing a lot of.
Yes,
like
it has.
It's honestly incredible how many problems boss checklist causes compared to how many it solves.
It used to be like just the most generic, included all the time, and it never caused issues, and now it always causes issues. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, like it's the root of all evil these days. Like, if someone's ever having problems like with, especially in multiplayer in Calamity, it's just like get rid of boss checklist.
It's
like why is this the thing that's causing everything to become terrible? It's gotten to the point where whenever I see like someone's asking like, oh, I need help with boss order, like to the point where if someone recommends boss checklist, I will actively tell them, do not get boss checklist.
You will crash your game.
It will ruin everything for absolutely no reason. Like it is ridiculous.
It is evil.
Like at least Calamity has an excuse for being buggy. That's a massive content mod. Like come on, boss checklist.
We're not even that
You're
buggy.
a tiny mod. Why?
I mean, we don't even have that many bugs anymore.
I guess unless the dev is like working on it just as like a side project, but like still it just causes so many problems for what it is. No offense to the devs, by the way, but just again, I guess we could discuss some of the changelogs real quick.
More debuffs.
Yeah, more debuffs. Which ones were in the changelogs? I gotta be careful.
One of them was brain rot, and another one was some water debuff or something. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't really think it needs to be elaborated on much. It's just like more debuffs. It's cool.
I can elaborate a little bit. Brain rot is the crimson or the corruption counterpart to burning blood.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish people would stop making so many jokes about it. Like I mean, we get it for the 5 millionth time to like brain rot. Haha, isn't that so hilarious?
It gave us a chuckle when we put the name in.
But yeah, like, just people keep reiterating it so much because that's what Calamity does. Anytime they hear a joke, they have to reiterate it indefinitely, forever.
This is why I only go on the Calman at 2 in the morning, because all the kiddos have gone to bed and I can have real conversations. But yeah, and the water debuff is it is a lower power level version. Well, Crush Depth was moved later and made stronger. And then this is the low tier version of it.
Right, so it's basically like the water version of like On Fire.
Correct, yeah. Yeah, but we talked about debuffs for a while. Like, certain weapons don't inflict the debuffs they used to anymore because some debuffs were just on everything for no reason. Like, Holy Flames was on, like, everything for some reason. Like, everything inflicted Holy Flames.
God hath imbued my weapons.
Miracle Blight was pretty unpopular with how it looked.
Oh, yeah, actually, I've seen what it looks like. I hope you're ready. I was with Zyke and Oz while they were working on that, and woohoo! Hope you're ready for the rainbow microwave.
All right, I finally got it.
The only thing I do hope for is a little bit more like debuff variance in terms of like the categories that they're selected in. And so the fact that like, you know, Crush Depth and Riptide are just like weaker slash stronger variants of like the same debuff is a little saddening versus like something that's a little newer. But then again, like there's only so many things you can do with it, so I'm not too worried, but at the same time it would just be nice to see a little bit more in like the, you know, the water and the electricity categories, just so that they have like more viable options.
It's on the list.
Cool.
There will be more of that's like the whole reason we added the Riptide.
Yep.
But that's just a sneak preview. Like other debuffs, like any new debuffs we come out with will most likely not fall into the fire category, because holy shit, there's like a million fire debuffs.
Yeah.
Or sickness. Like, you know, we want to make electric debuffs, or Miracle Blight is non-type. It looks cool. It turns people into little green sickly monsters. And the new effect is really cool. Yeah, a lot of like visual effects are getting just a little bit of extra pizzazz to modernize them a little bit.
Gotcha.
A lot of them look really cool.
Yep. And then also dog laser walls are finally becoming less laggy.
Yeah, there was a lot of optimization with code that Fabsol's been doing lately on his spare time.
Yeah, because like dog is like infamously laggy with the laser walls. Like even good machines will lag on it.
Yeah, it was just how it was rendered. Terraria is a funny little engine. It's kind of crazy. I can't even maintain a stable 240 FPS in this game, which is, you would think I get about 10,000 frames in this game with the build I have,
What
but
kind
no.
of specs do you even have? Like, good God.
I have a 4080.
I kind of want to fight Brain. Are you guys down to fight Brain?
Sure.
Yeah. And while we're on that topic, we can go ahead and talk about GFB. Let's do that.
Yep, we've run off topic, so now I guess we can finally talk about this thing that's going to take like half an hour to go through everything. Alright, so I guess we should first start off by saying that GetFix Boy is like not fair at all, and like you shouldn't play it if you want a fair experience.
No, it's not. It's not fair. It is supposed to be silly, funny, goofy difficulty.
Yeah.
Yeah, although occasionally you do still see some whiny crybaby in Calamity and be like, "Wah, this is so unfair."
You chose to play on the mode, bro.
You kind of picked your poison there. I mean, I have no sympathy for you.
Oh, people were trying to say like, oh, but Vanilla's version of it is well balanced. Well balanced? You blow up like half the time doing anything in that seed. What are you talking about, well balanced? Yeah, my introduction to it was while it was being worked on. Fabsol calls me and says, "Hey, do you want to fight the new Hive Mind in GFB?" I almost beat it on my first try, but I was like, I got to 5%, I think. When the second Hive Mind spawned, I was just like, oh.
Yeah, the biggest issue with that is just the fact that it has 10 HP. And I'm not going to tell you what has 10 HP. You'll just know what I mean when you fight it. It has 10 HP, and that is why. And then also the bullets, they go back. Yeah, the bullets are reflected.
Yeah, I've always found that like a very annoying part of like the vortex pillar, or not vortex. Sorry, solar pillar.
Solar, yeah. Well, solar pillar is just annoying in general.
I think Nebula's worse, especially vanilla, because nebula floaters are the worst thing ever.
I was gonna say Solar Pillar should be the worst thing in the game, but Nebula Pillar was just like, hey, hold my beer. I love when I can't see anything.
No, brain sucklers are okay. The nebula floaters telefrag you and have a lot of contact damage and teleport when you hit them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but we're getting sidetracked. Back to GFB.
I think the drop sub bosses are funny, but at the same time, they kind of spoil some of that surprise that you have, but like, then again, we could just put like a warning and just say like, hey, if you don't want to hear about this, leave.
I mean, I don't think people who want to avoid spoilers would even watch this, to be honest.
That's true, yeah.
That's
but
true, yeah.
just as a warning, we're going to talk about all the bosses. So if you don't want to hear it, there's
Goodbye.
your warning.
Yeah, so like I do think that it is very interesting how a lot of the strategies involve specifically going for certain bosses first because they have a very game-breaking progression skip, like Eater of Worlds, for example, giving
Light disc.
yeah, he gives light discs and the meta strategy is to rush him to get light discs to blow up all the other pre-hard mode bosses.
we didn't feel bad about giving them these items because you're gonna need them.
And then Brain of Cthulhu gives you an Occult Skull Crown. So enjoy your free adrenalines in free hard mode.
Maybe if we give it a Cult Skull, give this insanely super good accessory to people early, they'll realize it's so good and be using it in their regular playthroughs, because holy shit, that item is amazing and nobody ever uses it.
Was that actually the like philosophy behind that choice?
No, that was my own opinion.
Damn.
I hope people use it in their regular playthroughs now, maybe realizing how fucking insane it is after playing it with it in GFB.
Yeah, no, it's literally just like free adrenaline. If you are just like barely ever coming short of adrenaline ever, equip that and then you will have adrenaline, and then you can just press that button and congratulations. And if you don't use adrenaline, congratulations, you just get DR quicker.
Yeah.
So speaking of progression breaking stuff, Calamitous Clone also gives Ashes of Calamity, so you can get Shadow Spec pre-Escal.
Mm-hmm.
But like, honestly, it's not that useful, because Supreme Calamitous is probably one of the easiest bosses compared to how she normally is in Get Fixed Boy. Like, she really isn't all that different.
She was already hard enough, and besides, if you really want a hard version of, if you really want a difficult version of Escal, just, use Bob's...
There's the thing.
The thing. So, fun little beta test story about her. The moons, the Hage moons, they would crash the game if you got hit by them because of an error during testing, and we were almost debating keeping that, but decided not to because it would be terrible for multiplayer.
The crashing thing, like, on launch, when everyone was crashing to the final attack, like, some people were thinking that it was an intended feature. Others were, like, saying that it was a bug.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was fixed in, like, a day.
It wasn't.
Oh, was it not?
It wasn't. Like,
maybe I'm thinking of a different game crash. There were a lot.
Well, I mean, like, it said in changelogs that they tried to fix it, and it still didn't work. And then they said they tried to fix it again, and it still didn't work. And now in changelogs, we have for a third time saying that they're trying to fix that bug.
Yeah, either way, GFB has caused a lot of, like, glitches and problems for the most part, but, like, at the same time, yeah, part of it is it's just funny, yeah. Don't worry about it too much. Like, it's just that seed. It won't happen in your regular games compared to GFB. So, like, just deal with it for a little bit, enjoy the experience, and just go from there, you know?
So originally I was planning on trying to do Cirrus, like, shortly after the update came out. Like, I followed a very similar pattern to what I did shortly after the Drayden update came out, where I initially wanted to do Drayden on the new hardest difficulty, quickly realized he would be infeasible, and then just did Escal instead. And, like, it was literally the exact same route that I did for the other one, but, like, I generally don't have a lot of fun playing Get Fixed Boy, just because the bosses do so much damage. Like, there's, like, no room for error at all. It's normal for every boss attack to deal, like, 500 damage. Like, it's just... I just wasn't having fun, so I'm just not gonna bother with it. Because, like, I was trying Cirrus for a while, like, for a couple weeks afterwards, but, like, I just think she relies a bit too much on one-shots. She has, like, 5 different one-shot attacks. It's like, why does she need that many?
Yeah.
Because her Photon Ripper attack one-shots, her lasers one-shot. Well, that was easy.
Yeah. I had an adrenaline. I did end up trying GFB for a little while. I actually had a goal, like, in mind as I went into it, and that goal was to actually beat Duke Fish Run in pre-hard mode. Just because I felt like it would
saw your
probably
streams
be possible.
for that.
Yeah. I tried doing it, ultimately just kind of gave up on it just because I didn't... The strategy I had in mind for it that I thought would be kind of fun and unique didn't really work, so I was like, well, okay. So I got past, like, middle of pre-hard mode, and then I just kind of quit on the thing. So I experienced the light disc, but I didn't really get beyond that. A lot of it just came down to the lag that I was experiencing with the world at times, as well as just, like, not having a very clear direction, and given that there was so much that I needed to mine to get through in order to make any progress. It's just, GFB's main issue is the fact that it progresses so slow in the early game, even compared to, like, the, like, vanilla standards, which makes it a little more difficult to really get into.
That's what the stat bloat does to it, and like that's kind of what makes it unfun to me, is just all of the stat bloat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it's kind of left... It's kind of has the same feeling of me asking why wasn't For the Worthy Master Mode. Like, literally just... All you need to do is to fix Master Mode is make For the Worthy Master Mode, and then do down the stat bloat, and that's it. Yeah, I'm just talking about vanilla in general now, about, like, why Get Fixed Boy. Like, it just has such ridiculous stat bloat that, like, it just feels like it really doesn't need... The stats don't need to be that bloated, but they are. And to me, that's part of the thing that just doesn't make it fun.
Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people have been enjoying it. I actually haven't done a full playthrough myself, but I did make sure some of the bosses were, like, you know, beatable.
That's good.
Yeah, I always find it funny how, you know that eventually someone is going to no-hit everything, just because that's the way that it is. Like, people will always find a way to do whatever ridiculous challenge you come up with. But, like, it's always funny when people in no-hit are like, no one's ever going to no-hit this thing, ever.
It's the same thing when people in the speedrun community are like, this time will never be beaten. Oh, that's hilarious.
The only way that's not true is if you just don't give it time to develop. Give the speedrun time to develop. Because, like, strategies are being discovered for every single game, every single day, basically.
Yeah.
Small ones are big ones, but they are being discovered, and you just gotta give it time to marinate.
How'd you guys feel about Ravager? That's my favorite boss in GFB.
I didn't experience it. Like I said, I was only in pre-hard mode.
I don't want to say what it is then if you haven't seen
Two
it.
words, Gaster Blasters.
Oh, no wonder it's your favorite boss.
Yeah, I wonder why.
As soon as I tested it, I was...
Oh god, worm desync.
Oh, I love it when the worm head just goes off and does whatever.
Yep. Monetary multiplayer was, and always will be a buggy mess. It's just a fact of reality.
It's not too bad nowadays if you run it on a dedicated server.
I will say that I still think it needs a little bit more love in order to run properly, but, like, that I know also how much of, like, a hellish nightmare it is to, like, really optimize any, like, multiplayer in Terraria at all. It's probably low on the list, but it should be just another thing just to kind of consider as you're going down the road, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I can understand modders just not wanting to think about it ever.
Yeah.
Same.
Well, there's a lot of features that, you know, you have to make sure they work in multiplayer, and it's blah, 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 blah. But for the most part, I think things are pretty stable. Like, you can play it, especially if you have a dedicated server. There'll be a couple oddities, but other than that, like, stuff, for the most part, works. I really wish that vanilla Terraria had a much better aggro system built in, but can't all win, can we?
I think it's kind of funny how Hecate is a lot easier than regular exomechs. Regular exomechs are so ridiculously insane compared to SCal. Regular Get Fixed Boy Supreme Calamitous was no hit within like a week of it coming out by Zerky. It was done so fast compared to like what you'd expect for, you know, literally the final boss in the mod. But like, oh my god, like I don't even know how you approach regular exos. Okay, so for those who aren't aware, they're not that bad until you get into their solo phases, because they behave pretty much the same outside of their solo phases, except obviously the ridiculous stat blow for the worthy, so they have a bajillion damage and take 400 centuries to kill. But once you get to their solo phases, they constantly spam their special, and like it's not that bad for Thanatos. Like you can still mostly stay still. Drayden is shooting at you the whole time, but like he's still manageable. But Blender is also Blender is manageable too, because like he spends so long trying to chase after you that like you can just get some free damage while running away from him.
That's true, actually, yeah.
But twins are absolutely ridiculous. They fill the screen with so many projectiles and like are constantly rotating the death ray all over the place. I'm just like, how? I'm genuinely not sure how you're supposed to do that.
Let me quickly adjust the Rod of Discord cooldown time to 2 seconds for you. Yeah, and we'll have you try it again and tell me what you think.
The difficulty difference between SCal and Exos is so crazy, and like especially considering the fact like, actually Shay, can you confirm if Hecate is meant to be a post game boss or if it's just meant to be an Exo alt? Because I know Cirrus is meant to be post game, but like, is Hecate also post game or
no? It's
just an alternate? Yeah, so it's an alt, so you're not supposed to have post-game gear for it.
It's, yeah, I think Hecate is actually easier than standalone XM.
With Hecate, the attacks are a lot slower. Like, it's a lot more manageable. You can consistently outrun them when they're actually in the combined phase. After you kill the spine and the eyes, then you only have to deal with enraged Ares, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And you get Tyranny's End for that, so it's not, like, completely unmanageable. Like, it is very hard, but like you can reasonably do it. But one thing I thought was funny about Hecate was just how much damage the random orange lasers did on launch. They did like over 1,000 damage for no reason, and it's not like it was like some ridiculous death ray attack. It was just these random innocent orange lasers doing 1,000 damage to you for no reason.
Statbloat does some very funny things to unassuming numbers, because everything gets run through Vanilla's modifiers, and sometimes stuff like that will slip through the cracks.
Yeah, their insane stat load algorithm. Gotta love vanilla sometimes, am I right?
I love it when slimes deal more damage than Wall of Flesh when you enter hard mode. Very funny. I also like it how giant bats actually dealt less damage post-Plantera than they did in hard mode because of an error. That is...
It's just ridiculous.
I personally don't understand that whole buff enemies in hard mode thing, because, like, just make new enemies. If I was taking 2 damage from a green slime a second ago, why suddenly do they do 1,000 million damage? Like, what? What'd you think about Draydon with a shotgun?
I thought it was kind of funny. I mean, like, it was, obviously the teaser was just that another force joins the Exos in the fight. Like, that was what the changelog said.
It's
but
just
like,
Draydon's back in heat.
yeah, he just, like, has a little pea shooter just constantly shooting at you.
Yeah, Escal was probably the least changed boss, and because people are already really experienced with Escal, that doesn't surprise me that she was one of the first to be,
Definitely one of the easiest GFB bosses compared to,
Or just compared to what she is in the regular experience.
Oh yeah, by the way, that no-hit that I mentioned earlier was done in the box as well.
Of course.
For Cirrus, I have no idea how the hell you'd ever be doing her inside the box.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get away from Photon Ripper. Actually, during beta testing, it was impossible for a little bit. And then the Hage Moons crashing the game.
Yeah, but now it's just the final attack that crashes the game sometimes.
In the very first beta test, the Empress of Light, or Providence she spawned, had RDR.
That sounds like fun.
Here I am. I had God mode on. I'm like, these things will not die. It has been 5 minutes, and I've been dodging this stupid... these stupid 2 Devourer of Gods going in back and forth.
So I mentioned that I did fight her a fair bit, but I didn't actually mention how far I got. I did manage to get to the final attack once. Exactly once. But, like...
Sans Undertale.
Yeah, like, but the thing is, I don't understand how exactly you're meant to do the final attack outside of another box, because, like, once I got to that final attack for the first time, like, the thing that demolished me wasn't necessarily the Sans part, it was more the random other bottles that she throws around and just shoots lasers everywhere.
I actually didn't, I didn't play the final attack, so I don't know.
Come on, you're the Undertale expert here.
When I was beta testing it, it was still crashing the game at that point, so... Actually, no.
Yeah.
What was happening, it wasn't a game crash. Her final attack just didn't happen.
Because I don't know how you're supposed to be able to dodge that without Rod of Harmony spamming.
Rod of Harmony spamming. Well, Rod of Harmony is fair game if you were playing that boss, so...
Yeah, it's 100% fair game. You aren't doing this without it.
Yeah. Like, it's okay to have some attacks that, you know... It's okay, it's GFB, it's the crazy stupid difficulty. You need to use everything in your power.
We could talk about the funny Lord finally being back.
Yes, when I made that original April Fool's tweet, by the way, that we had no plans to bring him back, but it was just a thing we decided to do.
Yeah, someone in No-Hit actually managed to predict that it was the Lord whenever the Something Horrible changelog was released.
I'm glad somebody predicted it. Yeah, I was pretty sure someone was gonna figure it out.
Yeah, shout out to LGL for correctly guessing who it was.
But yeah, he's funny, and we added the Wonder Beam thing.
Although the only problem is that this time there's no Coldheart to finish him off.
Oh yeah, you're beloved. I'm so sorry.
Well, actually, the Coldheart has been reincarnated as well. Alicorn on a stick, basically just Coldheart 2.0.
Oh yeah,
so?
well, okay, that's like the super
like,
weapon, though.
Yep, like I know it wasn't dedicated to me, but it feels like it was.
What is it? Wait, what?
Okay, so basically, you know the Coldheart, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so imagine instead of doing 2% damage per hit, it like it was like a permanent thing that like sticks out in front of you.
Yeah.
Lovely little guy.
Yeah.
Look at this little slime. See him? Goodbye. It does like a set amount of percentage and hits once a frame.
It's like a super ridiculous beefed up version. It murders Yaron in 3 seconds.
It kills everything. It is
Yeah, like,
your super ultimate reward. It is the most powerful thing. You know, if you beat GFB Cirrus, you deserve it.
So that's a GFB exclusive?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
the last item you get.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but like I say, I'm just gonna pretend this is my dedicated item. Because it feels like it.
Might as well just take it. Yeah.
Yep, take it for what's worth.
Oh, you're just showing.
Yep, showing how absolutely violently eviscerates everything.
Oh, yeah, nice. Very nice.
Both got
Yep.
one.
I kind of just want to summon Yaron and just show it.
It really
Okay,
won't,
hang
yeah.
on.
Yeah, everything will be fine.
Yaron.
Ow!
And there he goes.
Oh,
Instantly
good. The death
eviscerated.
animation's working in multiplayer again. Wonderful.
Wait, I didn't even see him exist.
Instantly eviscerated.
If I die again, I swear to God. No.
Yeah, I want to see this from us. Can you do this one more time? Sorry, I didn't get to
Do
see
you have
it
God
here.
mode on? John God mode?
Yeah, I do. Oh. Yeah.
No!
Yeah, that's balanced. All right.
Yep. Also, regarding Yaron, he's in Get Fixed Boy, he summons Bumbleburbs, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He is very silly. Oh, no. Why are you like this?
Yeah.
Why are you like this?
Like, he summons those fireballs that he has for the base of the border natives. He summons those as, like, Hage moons to follow you around, doesn't he?
Something like that. That was another one I didn't actually get to do too much fighting with. God, this thing is a dust behemoth.
Not causing that much lag, surprisingly.
Yeah, it should probably be reduced on the amount of dust.
Maybe, I'll put that one on the list.
Yeah, put in a quick word. Just a little bit of a dust reduction.
Dog is also tiny. In GFB, he has 3 segments, which is great.
Mm-hmm. That'll be really funny when the resprite comes out.
And Lacerator also does like 5,000% damage on him or something.
A reference to the whole lacerator kills dog thing. Ugh, that's such an old in-joke. Have you used Arc Tesla armor at all lately?
No.
With the visual effects it has? With the after image? I have no idea how these look in multiplayer. I'm not sure if they look good or not.
Alright, I'm wearing it.
They have like little blue trails.
Yep.
Yep. It's a nice
This is actually the first thing I ever programmed.
Oh, hey, we also broke the curse of having to use a different world for every single episode.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Back in my day, we didn't even care if Shimmer wasn't in the world. It's kind of weird to think about the fact that, like, every single playthrough I've ever done since my Revengeance no-hits has been recorded and filmed. And edited and uploaded. Literally every single playthrough.
So you feel like you haven't done a playthrough of the game?
I haven't had a casual playthrough of Terraria going on like 3 years. Actually, no, I started no-hitting in like July of 2020, so it's been like over 3 years. It's always been recorded. All right, well, thanks for tuning in to CalCast. I hope this was at least somewhat informative, because it was fun to film.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, isn't that what matters?
I suppose so, yeah. I will catch you guys later. You guys have a good night.
Yep.
See ya.
Yep, good night, JFL, and good night, audience.
Good night, audience. Don't do anything stupid.